The jail booth became a confessional, full of admitted sins, forgiveness, and answered prayers. In the midst of his ramblings about how and why he could do better, I heard myself mumble, "Brother, we need you."
We back. We in Macon, Mactown, baby. Hey. Second part of our Black Man Lab Afterflow. And we have some incredible guests. They getting ready to do their thing, tell you about themselves. And I'll just tell you, the conversation tonight was rich. We had brothers from a variety of perspectives sharing what is important to them. And so you'll get a chance to hear some of that.
Intergenerational.
Intergenerational.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Intergenerational. So we had elders and then we had some young brothers. And we got one of our young brothers here with us. Introduce yourself, brother.
My name Tylen Bobbitt. I go to Weaver Middle School and I play sports. I play football and I run track. And I really want to just make it in life and be successful.
Be successful. You got anybody to look up to? I think I know another Bobbitt.
My brothers. I look up to my brothers, my dad, and some of the sport players that I watch. I look up to them.
So Tylen Bobbitt, who is on our Black Man Lab album, y'all better cop that album too. It's real. It's the social justice album of the year. Y'all feel me? So Tylen is a poet, and then he became some kind of. Did you know he could rap?
Actually, I didn't. I just remember one day, cause I stayed down here in Macon. I remember one day I went up to him. He was like, I want you to hear this song I listened to, thinking about making. And then he just played it. I was like, bro, that's hard.
Oh, wow.
It's hard. Look at him.
I was like, bro, that's hard.
What? That's what it is.
That's a powerful
good,
affirmation.
Yeah.
And I know he appreciated that. And I'll tell you, I'm about to tell you this one last thing about your brother. We were on the radio. And they played the song and he was on it. You know what he did? He broke down crying. He was like, I'm on the radio. It was dope, though. It was beautiful, man. It was really beautiful for him to be able to hear himself on the radio with that album. So good. Glad you're here, brother. Glad you're here. Thank you. Sir, can you introduce yourself to the wide world of Black Man Lab and beyond?
Yes. Greetings. Thank you for having us here. Commissioner Paul Bronson here. Came out of Macon, Georgia, out of the Bellevue area. Mm-hmm. 2-bedroom, 4 siblings, and myself and my mother. So, yeah, I know, right?
I'm trying to do the math. 2-bedroom, 4 siblings. That's a lot.
It's a tight space.
Tight.
But no, I came out of Macon, Georgia, graduated out of Central High School, a double master's out of Fort Valley State University, the Fort Valley State University.
Fort Valley State University. You better represent.
Love you, bro.
HBCU in the house.
State University. Master's degree in mental health counseling and another master's from Wesleyan College in business. So I'm just here. I've been serving now. This is my first term as an elected official.
Congratulations.
Also on the military side of the house too as well. So as far as I go, CEO and founder of the Kingsman Foundation. We work with 3rd, 8th, and 11th grade students in regards to literacy, credit building, and so forth. And then, of course, partnership with other organizations out there. Fathers Amongst Men is one of the organizations. I Am Kings, one of the organizations that we deal with as well. So just a blessing to be a part of the circle, part of the group with these young men that are really putting the boots on the ground for our community. So,
got to ask you a super quick question. Tonight, when you saw all of those brothers in the room, how did it make you feel?
Made me feel great, bro. Made me feel great. It was an honor. It's an honor just to be in the room, right? And I think we don't see that enough. And I think our youth, other men, needs to see that, because once they start seeing that, hey, we can get together in the room, we can have dialogue, and it's not an argument after that. I think that's one of the key things, is being able to learn how to dialogue, how to talk with one another, even though we may disagree. Right? How do we agree and yet disagree at the same time and have an understanding at the end of it? Like, hey, you know what? You got a valid point. So I think that's just the first step that we have. And this tonight was one of those major steps that we took forward in this community.
Man, I want y'all to hear that for real. I want y'all to hear that tonight, coming to Macon, again, the Black Man Lab is just a space, but the space is ultimately created by the black men in the space. And those black men were black men from Macon. This ain't an Atlanta thing. This is a Macon thing. Those brothers, people who serve.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I kept feeling like. Oh, this brother's serving. This brother's serving.
Yeah.
This brother's serving. So we are very grateful that the New Georgia Project is powering this tour. Black men got something to say, and we're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna keep it moving. My man.
Brother Davis.
You ready for homecoming, man?
Ready for it, man.
Oh, man, I ain't ready for
know you
homecoming.
are.
I'm not ready for homecoming, man. Y'all are fanatics.
That's what's up.
But introduce yourself.
Yeah, great to be here, Brother Davis. Dan Sims, Superintendent of the Bibb County School System.
Y'all clap y'all hands.
Yeah, thank you.
I remember this. You were at Tri-Cities.
Yeah, high school I attended. I was a principal there, coach there, teacher there. Paul D. West Middle School in East Point.
Yes, sir.
A school I attended as well. So I spent 21 years of my career in the city of East Point where I grew up. Headland and Low got a store for every quadrant of that Outcast.
That's right. Drop that Outcast on them. Tell them.
I'm a kid, grew up from the Stanton Project to the superintendent's role. And this is literally the only position for superintendent I applied for. I knew I wanted to be in the city of Macon. I kind of feel like Deion Sanders. Now, who is Macon if I'm not Macon? No, I feel like I'm Macon. Like, for real.
You say, don't be trying to come for me.
Yeah,
I am
man.
Macon.
No, but it's been a blessing. I've been well received down here, man.
Yeah.
Ready to do some amazing work. Got a beautiful wife for 26 years, son at Stillman College in Tuscaloosa. Daughter about to graduate, head to North Carolina A&T, 17 years old. So just excited, very excited to be a part of this city that has embraced me.
But one thing you left out of the resume, where did you go to undergrad?
Undergrad journey. I went to Georgia Tech, Georgia State, and the Florida A&M University.
FAMU.
Rattler strike. Strike again.
Look. This is that hard core FAMU fanatic behavior. I'm telling you. In about 72 hours, if you in and around Tallahassee, you in trouble. Because folk gonna be moving everywhere.
That's
Black folk everywhere. It's gonna be beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Brothers, the conversation tonight, and we really just kind of open that thing up and just say, hey, what do we have to say? Folks are really telling us kind of like what our agenda should be and this and that. What do we have to say? And so I just want to, I'm gonna kick it over to Brother Francis for a moment. Francis, you've been involved for a long time organizing around the state of Georgia, Statesboro, now Macon. What are you hearing from brothers? You've been in these two rooms listening to brothers. What are you hearing from brothers? Quickly.
Well, what we already knew is that the Federalist Papers were wrong, that the search for the common good is not something that's beyond Black men. I mean, the founders argued that leave this to the men more capable of sorting through and competing options and deciding what was the common good. They had what they thought was a very logical argument about that. And so when I hear Brian Kemp partnering up with Killer Mike talking about a good week, and I realized that we've had a terrible last 12 years in his leadership as Secretary of State and now as governor, where he's failed to expand Medicaid, which has resulted in more than 12,000 people losing their life prematurely. When I consider the fact that he was opposed to the COVID surplus spending from the federal government and now has turned around and doled it out in $350 cards as if it was his idea in the first place, his countenance for the Trumpsters who ultimately stormed our Capitol. I say to hell with Killer Mike and Brian Kemp with a good week when Black men have been catching hell in this state since 1733. We have an opportunity in a few days, 14 days is election day, to make the 84th governor. I think the best man for the job might be a woman.
All right. All right. We hear you. I want to ask you all's thoughts about the issues of what concern you as the superintendent of this school district. What are you looking for? What resources do you feel like you need in order to impact the
22,519 and counting.
22,519. That's a lot of young lives to be responsible for, but we give thanks that you the man for that.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, my message hasn't changed since the beginning. I had some great conversations with kids since I've been here. And the resounding message that I've heard is that kids want to be valued. They want to be loved. They want to be cared for. They want to feel like when they look to their left and to their right, that everybody values and cares for them. So the biggest issue for me as a superintendent, while not a typical issue you may hear on a political front, is the value that we place on our least of these, our children. Along with that value is ensuring that that child can go to a quality school, but then go back home to a quality home, which means what happens to a family, everybody deserves to have a decent living, to be able to bring up a child in a decent surrounding. So in as much as we can make that happen for our children, it's not that I'm being selfish for the children, because if we build up the children, we build up the city. We build up the city, we build up the world. So this is an unselfish approach, if you will, to making. And every other city who values children and values the family that they come from better than they were before. That's the big idea for me.
There it
and
is.
will continue to be.
Driving you, pushing you.
That's what drives me. It's this idea of, what do our children need? What do our families need? And how can we align plenteous resources to meet those particular needs? Not just for that group, but for everybody.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Isn't that articulated through the budget? And budgets are a statement of priority.
But budgets are a statement of priority.
And when the state has underfunded your budget every year, and then on election year, turns around and wants to so-called fully fund, which is basically restoring the funds they cut in their first 3 years. Isn't that a gimmick?
Well, it depends on what time you're talking about. Let's talk about specific times now.
Sure.
We're in the second year of what we call the ESSER funds and the American Rescue and Recovery Act funds. Millions of dollars that have been funneled to schools and school systems. So as far as money is concerned, in its current state, we're in a decent space.
But Brian Kemp opposed that, and the sitting congressman for parts of Bibb County opposed that, and they opposed Joe Biden, and who had to pass it over their objection. So the surplus money that is now giving you the opportunity to do some things didn't come from a non-politicized statement. It came from a budget which has to be passed by people who went up and fought for it. That's the return on the investment for the people who went out and voted during the pandemic and turned out, despite all the kind of pressures, that voter suppression pressures, that keep them from showing up. And so if you want to continue your progress, you need to have people in Washington, D.C. going to continue to send the money to Macon Bibb County. Isn't that right?
Yeah, which is my whole point behind seeing what the needs of students and families are.
Right.
Now, I'm a grown man, and I ain't about to sit and talk politics on this here show.
As a nonpartisan superintendent.
Yep.
You here to do
I'm going to stand on those 2 feet, right.
You here to do the work.
So whoever's in office,
children.
my job is to make sure that I articulate our needs, communicate them to my commissioners, my congressmen, and those individuals, and hold them accountable to help us meet those needs, whoever that person is.
Commish, what are the needs that you see that have to be met?
So I have to echo the sentiments here, right? So it's a team effort, right? When a child gets up and leaves, they're in school for 8 hours pretty much out of a day, and then they come home.
Right.
If they're coming home to a family that's broken, to houses that look dilapidated, blighted properties, grass growing up around the area,
chaos.
It's pure chaos. So what we have to do as commissioners and as the mayor, as our governmental body, is partner up with the Board of Education, with the superintendent, and basically, in a sense, in so many ways, right, we got to fall in line. I say that very loosely on that end, right? Because that's been a give and take relationship. It can't just be, hey, superintendent's leading the way. It can't just be, hey, the mayor's leading the way. It has to be working as a collaboration on that end. He's providing, he's checking out and seeing what the students need. We need to be providing what the parents need, right? And what I mean by that is, if it's good paying jobs, if it's opportunity, if it's a clean streets, if it's blighted structures knocked down, if it's supporting mental health matters, if it's supporting whatever resources that we can provide as a governmental entity, we need to be providing those things. So that way, when it basically, it's almost in the game of ping pong. When that ball goes back,
they go home, they cover.
Right.
They're in school,
they cover. And the secondary part to that piece is this: when they graduate, they got to be able to maintain that job and start that career.
That's right.
So it has to be a team effort when it all boils down to it. And true be told, we got to have transparency.
Yes, sir.
I think that's the biggest thing right now in government. We're not being transparent. Okay. So we need to make sure that us as elected officials are being transparent and also listening to the citizens and actually being held to hold our feet to the fire.
So we got to run. Here's what we want to do.
Go for
We're
it.
going to start with our young scholar. In order for you to be successful as a student athlete, really as a scholar athlete, and I'm going to tell y'all, scholar athlete, that was a term that my old coach at Beasley Academic Center on the south side of Chicago, Mr. Thomas Green, he coined that term, scholar athlete. To be a scholar athlete, you have to have some habits, rituals, and discipline. What do you do when you get up in the morning? What can you tell other young people who want to do what you're doing? You're doing well academically. You're doing well in sports. How do you do that? Just really quickly, what's your schedule? What do you do?
Well, first, you got to make sure you eat breakfast. That's important.
All right.
Cheerio.
So then that, like, as you getting ready, you gotta like plan your day out for like what you gonna do. Afterwards, like go to school, get your work done. After you get your work done, you can go do some training. What else?
So you hit the books first, then you train.
Yeah.
All right. That's called getting your priorities in order. Thank you, brother.
Amen.
Especially when like when you get home, you ain't going to do nothing, so just go and do it before you go. But me, I don't even do my work in like my homework, so I don't do it. I get it done in school, and then I can just go home. Yeah.
Go home and focus.
Yeah.
Glad to
All
hear
right.
that.
Tell them what middle school has the superintendent been over to the middle school yet to check you out?
You know you're super, don't you? Yeah, he knows me. He knows me.
They say he's been at every school all over the place.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
every time something is happening with our young people, he's showing up. So
Yeah.
that's been your impression as well.
Yes, sir.
That's good. That's good. All right. Habits, rituals, and disciplines.
Oh man. Of course, before your feet touch the ground, you got to give thanks. All right, I give thanks to the Lord every day. I get the opportunity to wake up and see my friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
I think my focus point is how do I make my day prior? How do I make that day better than the day before?
Right on.
How do I ensure that I'm checking off in the sense, not loose term here, right? Checking the box in the sense of ensuring that I'm doing what I was placed here to do. All right. If I'm
Purpose.
I have that purpose. If I'm not helping the man or the woman to my left and to my right, then if I haven't done anything that day, I failed.
Right.
Right. So I don't believe in failure. Right. So that's one of those things where, when I get up in the morning time, I get my prayers in, I get organized, I eat my breakfast, right? My Cheerios. Okay. And I get my workout in. And then from there, it's just making sure that I'm doing what I need to do on that end. I believe in putting a smile on the face. At some point in time, in our interaction, I should have put a smile on your face at some point in given time. And then at the same token, provide that help and assistance to those that are around me. So
There it is. What time you get up in the morning? I'm gonna start with that.
Oh, about 5:30.
All right.
About 5:30 in the morning. Yeah, I'm a slow riser, but start my day with prayer all
Yes, sir.
day. And it's important for me to feed the temple spiritually with time to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily during the day, but when you feel the urge to meditate, you meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Feed the temple physically. I don't miss a meal. I eat about every 2 hours. got the metabolism of a 25-year-old, even though I'm 51 years old. Then, of course, take care of my body physically in the weight room, get some exercise in. I operate what I call by the 3 MVPs. These are my MVPs. The first one is that I motivate and value people. These are cores of every single one of my days. And my core, motivate and value people. MVP, motivate and value people.
Gotcha.
The second MVP is I always try to operate by what I consider to be the most valuable practices and operate through the most valuable priorities for each one of my days so that when I get to the end of my day, I can see that something good came out of it. Mm-hmm. And then the last one is that I move with vision and purpose. So whatever I'm doing, there's a reason why I'm doing it, and there's somewhere where I'm going. Great. So literally every day when I get home, I'm tired than a mug. But I'm tired because I've had some structure to my day. I have my calendar that's set, and it's a valuable day every single day.
Now that MVP, wait, is that in the book somewhere? Where's the book, man?
It's coming. It's coming.
There it is.
It's
We know it's coming. We know it's coming. That's too clean. That's too clean.
Yeah.
Brothers, we appreciate you all. We appreciate you. We appreciate Macon and the black men who are here and the way that the world gets to hear and see you all in a way that 3 or 4 days ago, folks are like, They ain't talking about nothing. Yeah, we are. All over the world, all over Georgia, black men got something to say. Thank you, brothers. Let's give it up for these brothers.
Yeah.